P. Jordan? Not yet. Hi, I'm Dr. Bosh P. Jordan Jr., the pastor and founder of Hope Alive Outreach, and we're here today. And I'm the Hope Doctor to give persons hope who suffer from the disease of addiction, primarily drugs and alcohol. So tell your friends, your neighbors, that the Hope Doctor is on the air. We had some technical difficulties for those of you all who may have been on for some time and waiting for us to come on, but we thank God that we're here now. We have as our guest today, my co-host, first of all, Nicole. Where's Nicole? There's Nicole. All right. And Nicole is here in sunny St. Pete, Florida. And we also have Barry W. And Barry is in
Delray Beach.
Delray Beach. I wasn't going to make that mistake and say you're near Boca Raton, right?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, in Florida too.
In Florida too. That's right. And also we have as our guest Gina, and Gina is in Baltimore.
Right.
Hi, Gina.
Hey.
Yeah, she's sporting her Ravens sweatshirt today. That's wonderful. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking a little bit about our attitude, our thoughts on maintaining our recovery or our sobriety in the midst of an election. I mean, in the midst of a pandemic. How do we go ahead and stay sober, stay in recovery, keep our right minds, because there's a whole lot going on in America today. And one of the things that I know that has been happening during this pandemic, and that is that alcohol consumption has gone up 400%. Drug overdoses have gone up. And so hopefully we can give persons who are listening today, we can give them some hope because of our own experiences. I want to start off with Nicole, just giving your name, who you are, how you happen to be here today, and just kind of, open things up. Nicole?
Sure. My name's Nicole Slaughter Graham. I am a journalist and media specialist. I got here because I've been sober for 11 years now. Alcohol was my drug of choice, so I joined Alcoholics Anonymous when I realized things were getting out of hand. And that's how I got here.
Good. I'm glad that you're here. Glad that you're here today. 11 years, that's, I wouldn't say you're an old timer, but as of yet, but you are moderately mature.
Right.
How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
And going down to Delray Beach, we have my dear friend Barry, and I've been knowing Barry for 32 years.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. Yeah, Barry, and just introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about yourself. How you happen to be here today and where you are.
Yeah. Well, I'm here today because I've been in recovery for a long time, and I need to share this.
Long time? What, 50 years? How long has it been?
No, 33.
Okay, all right.
Well, you might be older than me in some aspect, but in recovery, I'm older than you.
Right.
I don't really, the thing is, yeah, but the thing is, it's years, and years only count if you're working the program. If what we say is your disease, you're not responsible for your disease, but you're responsible for your recovery. And that's what I learned. I mean, some of the things I'm going to say now is what I've learned over the years. It's basically relearning how to be a human being. I was cane. My main drug, well, not my main drug. I used many drugs. I used just about anything that I could snort, drink, ingest in any form. I even occasionally used syringes, and I did a variety of drugs. That's why I went to Narcotics Anonymous, and I was able to hear the message of recovery and learn about the disease of addiction and how not only does it affect you in it doesn't expose exhibit itself just through drug use. It can show you can have the disease. You can substitute one addiction for another. And unfortunately, I've tend to overeat at times and do other things that, indicated to me. And that's one of the things I've learned is that I can apply the 12 steps to anything. And I've learned how to be more social, be more socially acceptable, productive. I went to school. I went back to school in recovery. I got a degree, chemical dependency degree, an AA degree. And then I went on to get a bachelor's of art in social work, and I got a master's degree in social work. And I was a licensed clinician in mental health and substance abuse. And I did that for a number of years. I'm retired now, but I still go to meetings. I still keep my recovery first. I've known you, and I know, well, you said Lil was going to be here, and I was looking forward to see her. But in a way, it's good because we used to get into trouble because you said something to me after a meeting one night. When you and Lil talk to each other, newcomers see that, and you're an old timer. You need to teach them how to stay clean, and that stayed with me, man. I remember that. But that's what we used to. That's what we do. That's what we learned how to do because it was done to us, but it was done with love.
Yes.
It was done because they cared about us. Some of the times I felt offended and hurt and all that stuff, but people only say things to you, not to embarrass you, but to help you learn how to stay clean and to be a better person. And that's what's happened. And I remember meeting Gina. Gina was in my home group, as was Lil, and we were all in the same home group. It was a great home group. I miss it. I miss the people there, like Terry and Arde. And for years, I was around. I got clean in Baltimore. I moved down here after having 25 years. I've been here, and and NA helped me move. And, the 12 steps, working the steps every day, having a sponsor, but also learning to reach out. And even if you move somewhere, there's a meeting somewhere. Yeah. And that's what I learned. And that's what I did. I reached out,
Thank you so much, Barry. Now, Gina? Tell us a little bit about how you got here, where you are in recovery.
Okay, well, I got here from using drugs consistently and for 17 years. And I got to the point where my life was such a mess. I was done. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I fell to my knees and asked God for some help. And I believe that he helped me because I went into treatment shortly after that. And I took the suggestions that were given to me. They told me to get a sponsor, get a home group, go to meetings, do 90 meetings in 90 days, and stay away from slippery people, places, and things. And I'm gonna tell you, I was so done. And I have to tell you, before I even admitted that I had a problem, I had tried on numerous occasions to stop using on my own, and I failed every time. So it wasn't until I actually fell on my knees in prayer that my recovery actually started. And I have been following the same guidelines, working principles. I got principles in my life today because I had some before I started using drugs, but I found out that I had a disease and that I wasn't responsible for the disease, but I am responsible for my recovery.
Yes.
So, yes. I started taking the suggestions and working steps, and the steps were instructions for me. It helped me to see what the problems were. And, my life has been drastically improved since then.
Yeah, I want to throw a question out there. In your introduction, Nicole, you were saying that alcohol was your drug of choice. And Barry and Gina and myself, we acknowledge the fact that we did a little bit of drugs. Well, Barry did more than we did, Gina. I think.
I don't know.
But anyhow, what do you think? What do you think, Nicole? Do you think that there's a major difference between the effects of alcohol over against the effects of drugs?
I don't necessarily know because I never really did drugs. But I think that from an addiction perspective, if there wasn't alcohol, I would have found something else. I would have found some drug that would have worked for me and did what I needed it to do. And so I think from that perspective, addiction is addiction, no matter the substance. It's what we get out of it. It's the reason that we did it that makes the difference.
Yes, yes. And moving, right into our topic of how do we recover? How do we stay sober during this pandemic? I'm really concerned about the many people who are isolated, those who don't have a car, those who don't have a computer, those who don't have a cell phone, and how do they maintain their sobriety? I think two of you all mentioned about meetings. Brian mentioned that your home group, I think, meets 3 times a week now. Is that in person or
Yeah, that's live. That's
do
live.
they still have meetings on Zoom? Tell us a little bit about that and where that is.
Yeah. Okay. We meet my home group, and it's a clubhouse. It's called the Crossroads Club in Delray Beach. And my home group meets 12:30 to 1:30 every. Now it's Tuesday, Thursdays, and Friday. We were meeting Monday through Friday before the virus came along. There are not as many people attending. There are only myself and another home group member that are actually chairing meetings. But people come, and that's the object. One of the things I learned was to be of service, and to be of service is to give it back and to do for newcomers what needs to be done, which is
Are they
carry the
practicing
message.
social distancing? Do they practice social distancing?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, the facility has policies in place for. They want us to wear masks when we're in the building, to do social distancing. That changed somewhat because they went into phase 3 here in this state. But still, we don't get a lot of people. So people are doing it themselves. They're separating themselves, and we stay seated. I miss the hugs. I miss, the physical contact. But still, there's a love in the room. Still, we care for each other. I mean, some people fist bump. And in all honesty, after the meeting, when we go outside, some people do talk to each other.
Right. Yeah.
But
you have to have that.
Right. But you do what you do. And some people,
Nicole, are you going to any meetings where they're physical meetings, face to face? I think.
I can't hear her. She's not.
Nicole, you want to unmute yourself, please?
There we go.
All right.
At the moment, I'm not doing any in-person meetings because I have a heart condition that puts me at high risk. So all of my meetings are online right now.
Okay. All right. I have a heart condition. They call it afibrillation, where my heart will start beating real fast.
Yeah.
That's the same way it beats when I get around my wife. It beats real fast. But I have to take some medicine for that, and so I'm extremely careful. But I'm still maintaining my meetings on Zoom. What about you, Gina? Are you going to any meetings physically at all?
No, I'm not going in any place physically at all if I can help it. There's certain places I have to go, like the supermarket, get gas stations and things like that. But basically, my home group, and not just my home group, but the meetings that I have been attending, I've been doing it through the Zoom. And that's been really great because it allows me to stay connected with people who are like me, trying to recover a day at a time. And I used to tell people years ago, and I still say it when I'm chairing a meeting, meetings are like medication for me. With my disease of addiction, I have to do meetings because it keeps me attentive to this disease that I have.
That's a good analogy.
Certain things I cannot do, certain things I just cannot do. And it helps me to remember, you know, that I am an addict and that I do have this disease and I need people around me that's like me.
There are some persons who are relapsing, not only in the rooms of NA, but relapsing in the rooms of AA. How important? I mean, we've got 11 years, 33 years. That's 44 years, and 30 years. That's 74 years, and I've got 32 years, 74 and 32. So we're talking like 106 years of recovery right here.
That's old.
Make it 7 because look, I'm celebrating one more year next month, so you can make it 7.
Really. But we got over 100 years of recovery here, sobriety here, and that's from all mind and mood altering chemicals. The question I want to throw out is, how important is meeting attendance?
It's very important for me. I can only speak for me. I don't just do the live meetings. I do Zoom. I go to meetings wherever I have to go. And the interesting thing with Zoom, I've been able to go all over the world. You know, I get to run into people in recovery everywhere, which is great.
The way you've been, Barry?
Huh?
What's the farthest meeting that you've been on Zoom?
The farthest, I think, I haven't gone to the Far East, but I went to London. Really? And I'm going to go to some others, and I've been at there are a lot of them. I mean, really.
How did you find out about the London meeting?
Well, actually, because my sponsor, and he was going to speak. He was asked to speak. There's a person in Baltimore. I'm originally from Baltimore, as two of you know, and her name's Bonnie, and Ellen, and she finds people. She asks people because she's a member of this London home group now, and she's on Zoom, and she asks people to come and speak at the London meeting. And I went a couple times, and it was just, I mean, it's almost the same. They do things a little differently, but they still do the reading. They do everything we do. But the most impressive thing is that they get a lot of newcomers.
Wonderful. Do you have the ID?
Not offhand. I don't keep that right on. I don't have it written on my heart.
You can get it for us while we're on, so that you can share it.
I could try. I haven't gone there recently, so
okay. But I would love to. I
can get it to you sometime. But if you go online, there's an International Narcotics Anonymous marathon meeting every day, and then there's another one because I was also doing. It's called NA by phone.
All right.
It's called a long time meeting. There's a ton of
NA by phone.
NA by phone, which means if you don't want to go on Zoom and you just have you can use a phone and just call up. Nobody sees you.
24 hours. There's a 24-hour meeting that's telephone too. They have different speakers around the clock.
Yeah, a friend of mine here is involved with that. We used to actually, my home group was doing the phone line for a while because, but it didn't work out for us. So of course we went back to live. So and the other thing is this clubhouse that has meetings during the day and at night now. So, there's a lot of it's going on. It's happening. And then there are meetings, even Baltimore, that are live, and they call them hybrid meetings where they have Zoom and live and all that stuff. It's there. And that's the best thing. It's there. We can access this stuff. Yeah, like you said, it's sad. Some people don't have anything. But, the fact that we're live, if they can make it to a live meeting, they can connect with people. And how the people in the rooms are. They can be very generous, especially with newcomers, as long as they stay clean.
If you remember when I don't know about your story, but I remember mine. I didn't have a car when I first started.
I didn't have.
I was like, how am I going to get to a meeting? How in the world am I going to get to a meeting? But guess what? It worked out because I wanted it.
I came into the rooms because I had 4 DUIs. And of course, my problem isn't just alcohol, and I'm an addict, and a drug is a drug is a drug, and to me they
That's
were
right.
all
Alcohol is a drug.
when I was used, I was like a petri dish. You put a bunch of drugs in me and stir them around. That's what I tried to do. And seriously, I was, I drive doing this. I could only see, I had to do this so I could see one thing. Because
Really?
if I went like this, I'd see two, maybe even four things.
Mm,
And
Well, at least you weren't driving like this.
right.
well, it don't matter. That's why he ended with the DUI.
Really?
Unfortunately, and I feel by the grace of God, I was fortunate that I got stopped, and I was put through the system because I would have killed somebody, and not just myself probably if I kept going, and I was very fortunate. I didn't have a car when I came in. I used to walk to Liberty Crossing at night.
Yeah. Well, I had said that we have over 100 years of recovery, about 130 years of recovery. I used for 30 years. How many years of using do we have? How many years did you use, Barry?
A little over 20.
A little over 20. So we talk about 21, 22 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about 30 and 22.
Well, if you want to count when I was 5 years old, that was the first time I got drunk.
Are you serious?
Huh?
Somebody gave.
No,
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I got first time I got seriously drunk. I was 5 years old.
Where did you get the alcohol?
You want to hear this story?
Where did you get the alcohol? Yeah.
I went with my father. I'm of the Jewish faith, and we went to. It was a Passover Seder at a synagogue, and they give you a wine. And as a kid, I had little glasses. I was throwing those like shots.
Really?
I'm 5 years old, and I loved it. It was Manischewitz.
Really?
Great wine.
You were a kindergarten drunk.
Oh, yeah, and I loved it. And I was the kind of kid that loved to spin himself around. I loved the effect. I loved that. What it would do to me.
Where was your father?
He was sitting there. I don't know. He didn't pay attention. If he was paying attention, I guess he didn't think much of it. But then I was high.
Well,
5 years, and I look forward from then on. I look forward to that.
Well.
So if you want to count that, I used for a long time.
All right. That leads me to say something to the parents who are listening today.
Yeah, watch your kid.
Not only watch your children, but be careful not to give your children alcohol. I've heard so many stories about mothers giving their babies beer, putting beer on their gums and beer so that they go to sleep. But actually,
alcohol
could be initiating kindergarten drunks.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say this because I experienced living with some people who have been living in a commune, and it was like we all smoked, marijuana, and they had a 5-year-old son, and I used to smoke dope with him. I used to smoke marijuana with him at 5 years old. And here's an irony. One day I said, "You want to smoke?" He started going to school. He said, "No, I'm not. I quit." I said, "Why'd you quit?" He goes, "Because they came to our school, and they started at the one with the dog that just say no to drugs, all that stuff." And they told him, he learned. And he was
wait a minute, Barry. Are you saying that you were 5 years old smoking marijuana?
No, I was getting high with a 5-year-old living in this house in
How old were you?
Maryland. I was 24, 25.
And so are you
so I'm sitting there with a 5-year-old
really
smoking a joint, and we used to do that.
So the 5-year-old was smoking with you?
Yeah, he smoked. And anyway, one day, like I said, he went into school. They had that prevention program with I forget the dog's name or whatever. And they
program called DARE.
DARE. That's it. They just had started that. And I came to him one day. We were sitting down and we were talking. I said, "You want something?" He goes, "No, I quit." He did. I said, "Why not? Why'd you quit?" "Cause it destroys your brain." This is a 6-year-old. Do you think that my sophisticated self, my cool terminally cool self, that I would listen to a sick? Oh, you know,
Really?
you're starting to sound like my parents. You know.
So this
Yeah.
He quit, but you kept on using it.
Right? He's sitting there. Dopes for suckers. That's what he told me, and I laughed at him.
Really?
To say
you laughed at him.
What I do today, you know.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, I think that says something about the power of alcohol, and also the power of marijuana. Marijuana they say it's a gateway drug, but my gateway drug was alcohol. What about you?
Same. That was the first thing that I picked up, and it led to all my problems.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too that we demonize, marijuana and the illegal drugs, but we don't do the same with alcohol, and it's just as dangerous.
Yes. I think alcohol is more dangerous. And the reason why I say that is because I didn't know that alcohol was a drug. And so when I stopped smoking cocaine, September the 5th, 1988 is when I stopped smoking cocaine, but I reverted to drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
And I was trying to drink as much alcohol to get the high that I was getting from cocaine, but it adversely affected my driving.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God I never got a DWI, but I think it's important for us to know that even during this pandemic, COVID-19, we have a lot of people who are stocking up on alcohol.
Yeah, you also have a lot of alcohol companies marketing directly to people right now in new ways.
Oh yeah, online marketing, and a lot of stores will send it to you.
Yeah, it's true.
I hadn't noticed.
The thing is with alcohol, the social acceptability, like you were talking about how parents give it to kids. When I grew up, there wasn't a time, that parents wouldn't, because they thought it was cute. See if he likes it. They still do. Some parents still do that. They sometimes don't care if their kid throws it down. And when I was starting to get high, there was whole families smoking pot. And that goes on today. The problem is that somehow or other we manage to get, and usually it's not in a positive way, into treatment, we get into recovery. Whatever it is we do is recovering people to get there. And they say for every one of us, there are about 2,500 people who are using. And that's what it is today. And it's alcohol itself. I remember when I worked in mental health, most of the people, if they, especially, if they're chronically mentally ill, if they missed their medication, they would just go to the liquor store. And a lot of them got addicted that way, besides finding drugs on the street. When I was doing an internship, one of the clients they assigned me was this young man who he actually caused him mental illness by all the drugs he did, but primarily alcohol. I've known people that use a syringe to fire alcohol up. It destroys your brain. It can destroy your kidneys, your liver. It's probably the most deadly drug out there. It's deadlier than heroin and everything. And I'm not here to, make it any worse, but that's really the truth. And from what I learned, having worked in the industry, the alcohol industry does a great deal to diffuse the effects of alcohol. They even finance treatment because they want to control the message that alcohol is not that bad.
I want to give a station identification for the Hope Doctor. We're here today to give a message of hope to persons who suffer from the disease of addiction, primarily drugs and alcohol. And we have as our co-host today, Nicole. Nicole is from St. Petersburg. We also have with us, we have Barry, who's in she's almost in Boca Raton, but he's in Delray, Florida. All right, and we have with us Gina, who's almost in Washington D.C., but she comes up only 33 miles from Baltimore, Gina. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm not. Look, I'm further north than DC.
really. All right,
I'm
all
further
right,
north.
all right. And so what we're doing today is we want to give some hope to persons out there who are listening, and we do hope and pray that it's beneficial to you. If this broadcast has been beneficial to you, I like to ask you to just email me, and you can email me at info@hopealiveoutreach.org. That's info@hopealiveoutreach.org. Let me know how this broadcast, how this information has affected you. Also, want you to know that if you need to get into treatment, you want to get into detox, you need some counseling, give me a call at Hope Alive Outreach. Give me a call at 443-250-9635. That's 443-250-9635. We definitely are concerned about your mental health and your welfare. And don't forget to get my book, Pipe in the Pulpit. If you haven't gotten it, it's on special this month. On my website, which is hopealiveoutreach.org. If you go to hopealiveoutreach.org and you go to the store at hopealiveoutreach.org, the book normally sells for $11.95, but right now it's $8.95. And I will also send you this DVD, The Truth About Drugs, Real People, Real Stories documentary featuring former users who speak with experience, fact-filled, no scare tactics. I'll send it to you, and I'll also send you the pamphlet on the truth about painkillers and the truth about heroin. So what we're trying to do is to get as much information out there. I want to save lives. I'm a pastor by profession, and I've buried a lot of addicts and a lot of alcoholics through suicide, homicide, hanging, ODs, and so God, I couldn't understand, why God allowed me to go through 30 years of active addiction until after I came out, and He allowed me to do that so that I could do what I'm doing now. And I really think that's the reason. That's the same reason why God has allowed Barry to be here, allowed Gina to be here, allowed Nicole to be here. Can you all just speak on that just for a minute?
Well, I believe by the grace of God I'm sitting here today. Because like I said before, if I was left to my own device, I might still be using if I was still alive.
Right.
I mean, today, I feel like it's a miracle for me to even be sitting here. I'm 71. You talk about pre-existing conditions. I got at least, I have diabetes 2 now.
Right.
I had a stem, I've had those problems as I was getting older. And, but I'm still here and I still have a purpose. I still have some reason other than the normal reasons, but as far as service and commitment to recovery and people I sponsor, my sponsor, and people I know are in recovery. I still have a ton of friends in Baltimore. I'm looking at, hopefully Gina's still my friend.
Yeah.
And, it's what you do, it's what you do. I do it because it's my life now.
People looking at you, right. People who are here today, looking at you and listening to you. I mean, yes, you definitely are a miracle coming out of alcoholism in the kindergarten. I mean, the 5-year-old drunk. I'm telling you, I've learned some stuff here today. I believe we're all living miracles. What do you think, Gina?
Oh, definitely. I'm definitely a miracle person. And I'm going to tell you, I thought that once I got rid of the drugs, and my life was going pretty good, boom, I think I was 9 years clean when I found out I had multiple sclerosis. So, there are other things that's going to happen. I can say that other things happened in my life that I hadn't expected to happen, and I didn't use over it. Thank God I had 9 years under my belt. But the bottom line is things do happen. Our program doesn't promise you anything but freedom from drugs,
Yes.
basically what you want to do about your disease of addiction is the work that you put into it. You've got to do the work to change who you are. I found out I was the problem. Can't imagine that. Imagine that. I was the problem. Yeah, but I found, but once I accepted it and I started doing some work and things, once I found out some things about me that needed to be changed, I got to work.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting here thinking, the many years that I used drugs, I didn't find out that there were so many females who were using drugs until I came into recovery. Was that your experience, Nicole? What do you think?
Well, what I'm hearing right now and what I think is really interesting is that all of our stories are unique to ourselves, right? But in this program, we have this really unique ability to relate to another person like us. Like Gina, your MS is something that a lot of people don't know if they can get through sober, if they're dealing, and you're showing them the way. For me, I'm the first generation sober mother in my family. I'm the first woman to raise my children sober. So I have this unique perspective that I can give other mothers, and I have a career that allows me to write about and reach a national audience. And I've chosen to write about addiction and recovery because I really think it's important to deal with the stigma that surrounds it so that more people can get help. So I see that, we all got sober, and the experience that we have before we got sober, it shines a light for other people.
Yeah. You mentioned the stigma. By me being a pastor, and Barry was talking about, how he's also educated. He's gone to graduate school and gotten degrees and all. I was definitely embarrassed when I first got clean, got sober. I didn't want people to know about it. But as I worked the program, as I worked the spiritual program and the steps of the program, and as I became older in recovery, I realized the importance of me sharing my story with other persons, because there are other pastors out there who are using a drink or a drug to get through the day. Barry, has become a licensed clinician.
Right.
Clinician. You're a journalist, Nicole, and I know some things, about Gina, how Gina has progressed in taking care of others. So as we get ready to close, I'd just like for us to give some closing remarks, to give some hope for somebody who's out there listening. Gina, could you start, please?
Yeah, today I am a foster parent, and I worked in the field of addictions for close to 20 years. And I just decided, once I became unable to work, I'm now on disability, but I'm not totally, I'm still able to move around. I can still get around. So I decided I was going to work with children of alcoholics and addicts. And that's what I've been doing with the kids that come to me through foster care. And hopefully I can make a difference in their lives.
Great. Thank you so much.
Break the cycle, because Nicole said it, I'm probably the first person in my family that has raised a child clean. My son was 2 when I surrendered. So he didn't see all of he doesn't, he didn't get to see all the crazy stuff I was capable of.
Right.
Right.
But I did get to see my parents, and then I found out their parents and their parents. So it's rampant. It runs rampant in families. And I was predisposed for this disease of addiction, And my son, thank you to my God. My son is 33 years of age, and he does not use.
Wonderful. That's
God
a testimony.
God is good.
Yes. Some closing remarks, Barry. Give somebody some hope out there who's listening.
One of the things,
maybe they have a 5-year-old son. Maybe
5-year-old son.
Maybe or a 5-year-old daughter.
I can say this because I've worked both in substance abuse and mental illness, and also I've learned that, it doesn't take much, to show people that you care, but it also doesn't take much for people to start to be in recovery. All you have to do is make a personal commitment. It might seem like a hard journey. It might seem like impossible at times. But the one thing I've learned, if I use, I lose. I don't have a shot in the world in doing anything. That I have to reach out to people at times. I have problems myself, but I have to come and share them. And anybody can do this. I believe anybody can do it if they want to, because nothing works if you don't want it. If you don't want recovery, you're not going to get it. You have to do it for yourself. You have to do it for yourself, because that's the only way you're going to be of any use to your family, to be a good husband, to be a good wife, to be good with other people, to be good at your job. Because if you lose, and especially if you're an addict, I mean, granted, there's some people that can drink and all that and drug, whatever, and think they're functional. But I know this, for me, that doesn't work. I got to stay focused on my recovery. And believe me, I could sit here forever and tell you how I felt it was impossible and I couldn't do it. And I can't, just leave me alone. Let me get high. The joy in everything that I sometimes have today, because not every day that I have that, but I have it now because I'm seeing some people I know and I love, and met somebody new who's in recovery. And I've been sitting here and talking about one thing I love more than anything else is recovery. It's become my life, and I try to live it, and I try to conduct myself in the right way and be of use to others. I'm kind and respectful, and I just want to be a decent person. I just want to be good to others, so that, in all honesty, so they'll be good to me.
Yeah.
You earn respect. You don't deserve it. This is about living life on life's terms. And anybody, I just believe anybody can do it if you want it. I see people struggle. I struggle. I struggle even though I'm clean, because I go through stuff.
Thank you so much.
That's part of being human.
Thank you so much, Barry. I love you. Love you. I love you, even though you don't live in Boca Raton.
Well, I love you, even if you live in St. Petersburg.
Okay, some closing remarks, Nicole.
I'm mad because you are in Florida. I'm up here in cold Baltimore.
Well, nobody said you can't come down and visit, Gina. We'd love to have you down here.
Yeah, no, I'm not coming down here. Y'all have COVID. COVID is down here.
I'm not going to mention your name, but I know your sponsee's down here.
Okay.
I know.
Nicole, you want to give us some closing remarks? Give somebody some hope out there.
Sure. I kind of want to speak directly to what we're going through, because it has changed the way that we recover right now. And, even though there aren't as many meetings in person, and even though things seem a little dark right now, the resilience of the program is present. You can get on the phone, you can get online on Zoom. There are some meetings who are doing, in person and doing it safely. All you have to do is reach out and someone will be there to answer. That was true for me when I got sober. I do my best to keep the door open for others. It's just one step. It's just to reach out, and we're here.
Yes. Thank you so much. And before we close, I want to give a phone number out here to some family members who may be living with an addict, living with an alcoholic. It's a place called Al-Anon and Alateen. Al-Anon and Alateen. For families and friends of alcoholics and drug addicts. And the World Service office, the telephone number is 800-356-9996. That's 800-356-9996. And for those who are in Pinellas County, there's a 24-hour information line, 727-548-6811. That's 727-548-6811. I want to thank all of you all for being here with us. Gina, for taking your time and coming at the last minute. And I hope and pray that Lil, even though she's not here with us, that she will be well soon. And for Barry, thank you for coming here from Boca Raton. I mean, from from Delray Beach. And thank you so much, Nicole, for being here with us, even though you're right here in St. Petersburg. Well, I'm Dr. Jordan.
Yeah.
And remember, no matter what's going on with you today, there is hope for you. And if you can, don't forget to get my book, The Pipe and the Pulpit. It has some good stories in here. And it took me 25 years to write this book because some things in here that I had to get over it with before I could even write about it. And there's also some spiritual principles in here on how to help a loved one get drug and alcohol free. Well, and remember, no matter what's going on with you today, there is hope for you. I'm the Hope Doctor. Have a great day.